Fat loss is not supposed to feel like you are going to war with your body. If you are in this place where fat loss feels impossible and you're fighting your body and you're eating low calorie and you're overtraining, there's a very, very good chance that you have inflammation. When inflammation is high, that's when your body shifts into more of a protective state, and it can make you feel that wired and tired at the same time. And it makes fat loss just a lot harder because your body is going to prioritize survival over release. Hey team, welcome back to another episode of The Wellness Effect. And today we are talking about functional fat loss. And so if you feel like your body fights you every time you try to lose fat, I really want you to listen closely to this episode, because fat loss is not supposed to feel like war. And I know that sounds dramatic, but if every time you try to cut calories, you end up more tired, more bloated, more obsessive around food, more anxious, and somehow the scale barely moves, or it moves and then comes right back, that is usually not a discipline issue. That's a physiology issue. And I'm going to break down today what we like to call our functional fat loss framework. Not only are we going to go into why calories in versus calories out doesn't play out the same way in stressed bodies, but we're also going to talk about the difference between inflammation and fat, why almost everyone regains weight after dieting, and then why in many cases you should also focus on lowering inflammation before you even try to shrink your body. And then I'm going to leave you with our 3-step framework that we created to give you guys an actionable step-by-step process on how you can lose the fat and keep it off for good. We're going to kind of just get right into it. This is going to be our second episode, I think, where we're kind of one person is leading the train and the other are going to be more sitting back and listening and asking questions and kind of trying to put themselves in the shoes of the listener to help you guys understand it a little bit more. And so it's going to be mainly me, Lacey, talking for the majority of this, but it's kind of perfect because, well, this is my lore. Functional fat loss changed my life. And so most people approach fat loss with kind of like one lever, and it's restriction. Eat less, move more, create a deficit, push harder. And technically, yes, we know fat loss requires a calorie deficit. That's not really controversial or anything like that. But what we have found, especially with working with so many women with more deeper rooted issues, what's controversial about it is just the order that people go about it. And sometimes we need to kind of switch up the order and maybe not go right into a deficit and kind of focus on a couple other things first. And functional fat loss, I really want you guys to just ask yourself this, because it does start with a different question. And that is your body regulated enough to handle a deficit? Because when you think about it, like, a deficit is stress. It's restricting. You're restricting your body of what it needs to work optimally. And so when you restrict it of that, it is stress. It's not always a bad stress, but it is a stress. And if your body is already under-recovered, inflamed, chronically stressed, underslept, under-recovered, hormonally dysregulated, or you've just been dieting your whole entire life, adding more stress doesn't repair the system. It amplifies it, unfortunately.
And Lacey, just to even like break it down even more simpler, can you explain, like, when we say a deficit, what does that mean?
Yeah, good call. So a deficit is pretty much when you are in a calorie deficit, meaning you are eating less calories than you are burning in a day. So say in order for your metabolism to do all of its job properly, all your hormones are functioning optimally, your hair is growing, your skin is clear, everything is great. That requires a certain amount of calories, which we call your maintenance calories. And technically on maintenance calories, you shouldn't be gaining weight or losing weight. That's what you need to eat in order to maintain your body. So when you want to lose fat, you go into a calorie deficit, meaning you're eating less than you're burning in a day. So that means your metabolism doesn't necessarily have enough fuel to do all of its jobs. But if your body is in a good place, when you go into that deficit, then fat loss can happen before kind of your other jobs that your metabolism does start to shut down. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Is there an easy way to know your maintenance and then what deficit people typically should start at?
Yeah, there's lots of calculators online. You can go into it's TDEE, so total daily energy expenditure. If you guys just Google that and just put calculator, pretty much just put your height, your weight, your age, your activity levels, and then it'll pop some number out. It's for most women, it's going to be around 2,000 calories, probably, give or take. Obviously, if you are in a heavier body, you will require more calories. And if you are a smaller human, might require slightly less, but that's like a good place to start. And then in a healthy fat loss phase, I would say, again, it kind of depends on how much you have to lose, but anywhere from 250 to 500 calorie deficit is considered safe, kind of lines you up to lose about 1 pound-ish per week and that's kind of where we always aim, especially with our clients. If you're losing more than 1 pound a week, you're probably going fast unless you do have like 50 pound plus to lose. So everyone is just so different, but it's good to just pick a number and then just see, are you hungry? Are you starving? Did you lose weight? Did you gain weight? Did you maintain? And just kind of go from there.
Right. I remember you saying that now. Like you just kind of have to start with like actually seeing what you're eating now and what's happening in your body. And then that gives you a lot more information. Okay, cool.
Yeah, because those calculators work, but it's actually kind of is great for this episode because those calculators work, but they assume that your metabolism is working properly, which I read a stat as I was researching for this, and about 20% of people are metabolically healthy in
I doubt it.
America.
Yeah, that's so true, but it's less.
20%.
No, I know. I bet it's less than that.
Yeah, probably. Because that's just reported. Everyone overreports. So, but that's actually perfect because I wanted to talk about the calorie equation in a way that actually reflects biology because, yes, like we just said, you need a deficit to lose fat, but the calorie equation of calories in versus calories out assumes your metabolism is stable and your metabolism is not like going all crazy or it's adapted or it's downregulated. And so especially women who have been dieting their whole life and they just continue to go down this path of calories in, calories out. I just have to eat less calories and burn more, but your metabolism is responsible for how many calories you burn in a day. So the equation is calories in versus calories out, but the calories out is directly related back to how well your metabolism is working. And so the reason why this approach doesn't work for a lot of the women, especially that we work with, is because your metabolism has downregulated, which is why you are bloated and exhausted and you can't lose weight and you have hormone issues and gut issues and everything like that. So yeah, so your metabolism starts to adapt. And when you cut calories really hard, your hunger hormones increase, your thyroid output can decrease, your subconscious movement just drops, right? Because you physically don't have as much energy. So you might not even notice, but a huge percentage of the calories that we burn in a day is just by like talking with our hands or like fidgeting or going up and down the stairs or walking to the grocery store or whatever. And when you're super low calorie, without even realizing it, you do stop doing a lot of those things, or you start taking shortcuts, or you're not talking with your hands because your body's trying to conserve that energy. So yeah, your subconscious movement drops, your energy drops, your stress hormones increase. And even though calories go down, that's what I mean when I say your output adapts downward too. And then if you layer stress on top of that, so you're already underslept, you're inflamed, you're chronically stressed, your body is already in like a protective state. And so when you add restriction on top of that, that adaptation just happens faster and harder. And that's why, you know someone or someone can eat 1,400 calories and feel completely stuck. They're not losing any weight. And it's not because the law of thermodynamics is fake. It's because adaptation is a real thing. And adaptation is stronger in dysregulated bodies.
Yeah.
This episode of The Wellness Effect is brought to you by Lifestyle You. If you're listening to this podcast and thinking, okay, this sounds like me, whether it's low energy, hormone imbalances, stubborn symptoms, or you just feel like you've tried everything, Lifestyle You is our root cause coaching program designed to help you actually connect the dots.
We use functional nutrition, personalized support, and functional lab testing to figure out why your body is doing what it's doing, instead of just guessing or slapping a Band-Aid on symptoms.
And because you're a listener of The Wellness Effect, when you use the code Wellness Effect, you'll receive a free functional lab when you join the program. If this episode is resonating with you, make sure to share it with a friend, subscribe to the podcast, and check out the show notes to learn more about Lifestyle You and how to apply. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's where like there's the macros matter, blah, blah, blah side of people. Like And then there's like the wellness people that think that you just need to eat good quality food and that's all that matters. But there is like a place in between where it's like, yes, macros do matter, but we also need to make sure we're in this place where we're metabolically healthy for that actually to work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and for your body to actually be able to like absorb and utilize that nourishment that's going to move the needle on where your metabolism is at too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, it's so cool.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And I think I forgot to tell my story. I was going to tell my story because this is just like exactly what happened to me. And I'm just now in the place where I always say fat loss is easy for me now. And I think it's just different, but it's like a different type of hard. Cause I'm sure if someone kind of looked at my lifestyle, they'd be like, oh my God, Lacey, what you're doing is so hard, right? You have all of these habits and everything like that. But comparing it to 3 years ago, even 4 years ago, maybe max, where I was running like 80 kilometers a week in a very, very, very depleted body and going to the gym twice a day, every single day, like saying no to family events, vacations, like just outings, community, everything for literally 7 years in the hopes that I just like wouldn't gain 1 pound.
Oh.
Like it doesn't even compare, but it is different. But to me now it just feels so easy because if you are someone who is like white knuckling your way just to try to either maintain or hopefully lose a pound, like it shouldn't be that hard. And that is a very good sign that your body doesn't want to lose fat. And it's like, it should feel easy if you are quote unquote doing all of the right things. But I think so many of us just get bought into that like bro science for so many years where we're women treating our body like men when it's so drastically different. And it's just crazy to me because I'm like, it was obviously the scariest thing I ever had to do was like intentionally put myself into a reverse diet and gain 20 pounds when I'm showing up on social media every day. I'm a fat loss coach. You know what I mean? So I remember being in that state and like being so nervous. And it's funny, I was thinking about this last night because I knew I was going to tell this story, but I did it when I first moved to Kelowna. So I was like in a new city. Nobody knew who I was. And it was COVID and I couldn't go to the gym or anything. And so I think that gave me a little bit more confidence that I could do it because I was like, well, this is where I'm like, I don't think if I stayed in Edmonton that I would have ever been able to commit to it because I was just the absolutely shredded girl for so long because I was eating so low calorie and I was just that bodybuilder. And so it's just, I know because we have so many clients who come to us and their body has downregulated and adapted and they just want so bad to feel confident and to lose the fat. And it's just like, you have done this for so many years and I just want to be able to like hug them and like look them in the eye and tell them like it is going to be worth it, but you have to just trust the process and commit. And it does look different for everyone, right? But I just can literally remember like that state of myself of like, I'm just going to freaking do this the right way finally. And to be in this spot now where I've told lots of little mini stories throughout the podcast, but of just like how easy fat loss has come for me and how easy it is for me to maintain this body, even when I like go off the rails a little bit. We can go on vacation and I'm eating out and I'm drinking and I like get home and it's funny because it's like my identity hasn't quite caught up. Like my brain doesn't quite match like my physiology. So I'm self-sabotaging in my brain. And I'm like, I'm not going to look in the mirror. I'm not going to get on the scale. I'm not going to do all these things. And then after like a day or two, I like catch myself doing this and I pull myself out and then I get on the scale and I'm like down a pound. And it just feels so insane because I was that person who would go on vacation for a week and gain 5 pounds. And now I go on vacation for a week and I lose 5 pounds. So it's just like, it's so worth it and it shouldn't be hard. But
I think for you, it's not even that it's like, it's easy now because it wasn't easy. Getting to that point wasn't easy. It actually took a long time. And now it's almost, from what I'm hearing, it's like maintenance is really easy for you. And that's where we want to get everyone to, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And just a piece of it, like we talk a lot about symptom chasing, and it feels like this is probably the biggest symptom that people chase for the longest period of time is weight loss. And it's like one lever that you can pull to like get skinny is to like not eat. And again, when we bring it back, I'm sure you're going to get into this, so don't hate me. But like when you actually pull all the levers of the foundations, like for you, so much more happened on your quote unquote weight loss journey than weight loss. And that is why it's easy to maintain.
Yeah, 100%.
So cool.
And
So cool.
And it was even when I was bodybuilding, like I remember my coach, it was like I was doing 2 hours of cardio, eating 900 calories. Like
that.
I think a lot of people, when they hear me talk about this, they like probably don't remember me ever being that chubby because I'm like, filters were a thing. Like I didn't take a gym selfie for 2 years. I just posted old ones. Like you guys didn't know any of it. But even when I was super shredded, which is why eventually I did gain weight and became so hard, was because I had to work so hard and I ate so low calorie just to see one drop on the scale. And I remember the first time I tried to do a deficit after I healed my hormones and gut, it just like fell off and it just felt so crazy. It still feels crazy. But anyways, it's worth it. So what I wanted to share a little bit now about is just like the difference between inflammation and fat, because this can really change a lot of things for a lot of people. And I think regardless if you are someone who just has fat to lose or has inflammation or has both, it's really important, because if you are in this place where fat loss feels impossible and you're fighting your body and you're eating low calorie and you're overtraining, there's a very, very good chance that you have inflammation in your body, and you almost need to think about like taking care of the inflammation first before going into a fat loss phase. And again, it kind of just like brings everything that we've already said together. It's like focus on you're sick, like focus on that before you just try to shrink your body. And it's something that no one really explains properly, I don't think, but not all weight gain is fat, right? A lot of women experience, especially if you feel like, I always just ask women on sales call, I'm like, do you feel puffy and inflamed? I'm like, does that resonate with you? And some people will be like, oh my God, yes, I'm so puffy, like in my face, in my fingers, in my stomach. And then some people are like, what? No. So I feel like if it resonates with you, you probably are inflamed, but it can look like just feeling puffy, swollen, bloated. Your rings are too tight some mornings, big fluctuations in the scale, like throughout the week, or even like after a day of traveling and things like that. If you notice big fluctuations, a lot of the time that is more inflammation. It can even show up like chronic bloating, constipation, like any annoying symptom that you have is stress on your body. And when there's chronic stress on your body, that is what causes inflammation, because your body's like trying to fight it, right? And when inflammation is good, when it is acute and, you know, you break your ankle, everything goes there, it swells up and then it heals. But when you have gut issues and you're not fixing your gut issues and your body is constantly trying to fight the gut issues, and that creates chronic inflammation. And then that's when you know you need to focus on that before you get into fat loss, because yeah, it just matters. But when inflammation is high, that's when your body shifts into like more of a protective state and your cortisol will rise. And cortisol is a stress hormone and it helps you respond to threats, right? And when it's elevated chronically, it changes how your body stores and uses energy, and it promotes fluid retention. So it can make you kind of feel that wired and tired at the same time. And it makes fat loss just a lot harder because your body is going to prioritize survival over like release, right? And at the same time, insulin sensitivity often also decreases with inflammation. And so if you think about like even what insulin sensitivity does, right? Insulin is the hormone that moves glucose into your cells, so it can be used as energy or stored in muscle. But when you're insulin sensitive, your body handles carbs efficiently, which is what we want. The more insulin sensitive that you are, the better, pretty much. And energy will get used well and blood sugar stays relatively stable. But when insulin sensitivity decreases, your cells just don't respond to insulin as effectively. And that means your blood sugar stays elevated longer, and then your body produces more insulin to compensate. And insulin is a storage hormone. And so when it's elevated frequently, it makes it harder for your body to access stored fat. Was that too much? Did that make sense?
No, I think just to summarize, basically, when we're insulin, because I think the insulin insensitive versus sensitive sometimes confuses people, and it confused me for
I
a
literally
long time.
like go when you guys start talking about it, I'm like, oh fuck, I'm not
Basically,
listening.
we want to be more sensitive to insulin. And when we're not, then we have blood sugar fluctuations and we can store things as fat. That's kind of what store energy as fat rather than fuel, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. And then even on top of that, like thyroid plays a big part in inflammation. And so your thyroid controls your metabolic rate. And when stress and inflammation are high, your body will convert less T4 into active T3, which is the hormone that actually drives your metabolic speed. And so when that conversion slows, your metabolism slows down and you're going to feel colder and you'll feel more tired and you'll burn fewer calories at rest and your recovery decreases. And so now, like, picture your body, right? You're inflamed, your cortisol is elevated, your insulin sensitivity is low, and your thyroid conversion is slightly suppressed. And then you try to diet. You're like, yeah, I think the best thing that I can do right now is cut calories and increase my cardio and push harder. And all of that just increases more stress on my already super stressed out body.
Oh God,
and so
this makes me sweaty.
that deficit is going to increase your cortisol further. It's going to worsen your insulin sensitivity even more. And it can further suppress your thyroid output, especially if you're kind of just going at it balls to the walls and you don't know what you're doing. And so then you say to yourself, right, like, well, why is this so hard? I'm doing everything right. And it's like, this is why inflammation almost always needs to be addressed first, because lowering inflammation is going to improve the environment. And when inflammation decreases, your cortisol will stabilize, your insulin sensitivity will improve, your thyroid conversion improves, your fluid retention decreases. What else
Nutrient
did I say?
absorb-
Your digestion.
Yeah, nutrient
improves,
absorption.
your nutrient
Yeah.
absorption, like, and
crazy.
And we've all seen it, right? Sometimes the scale will drop before you even enter a deficit if you focus on that first, right? We've seen that so many times with so many women that come into our program where we have to really convince them we're not ready to go into fat loss phase. And then we're not focusing on fat loss at all. We're just like restoring the foundation of your body and giving it what it actually needs. And then they lose weight and they lose because your body's not constantly stressed out. And so,
and that, just to kind of like touch on that too, is sometimes it can be like a matter of now we're actually like going to the bathroom properly and we're able to like get rid of some of this fluid that we are retaining. And sometimes it even is just that we have more energy and to go harder in our workouts, and that like non-activity movement that Lacey was talking about, like that subconscious movement, is just naturally going to increase because your body's not preserving every single calorie that it's getting.
And like your sleep is probably starting to improve, which improves like insulin sensitivity and even just like detoxification and like recovery.
Drainage.
Like so much is happening when you're just dialing it down a little bit. It is actually crazy. I know it sounds insane and too good to be true. And I remember when I started coaching and like you guys had done a lot of fat loss in the past, and I came from like the holistic nutrition side where it was like, we don't even say the word fat loss in that industry. And I was like, oh my God, you guys, like I'm panicking. Like, how do I tell people they just want to lose weight? And like, how do I tell them not to? And you're like, oh, they will. Like, don't worry, just watch. And I was like, oh, okay. And like, I did not believe that it would happen. And it just happened over and over and over. I would say majority of my clients started losing weight before the deficit phase.
Yeah.
Which is like so cool.
Yeah, because you have to, like, most of us have spent more time dieting than we have ever nourishing our bodies for optimal health. And it's like what I always think is like, a healthy body doesn't want to be fat and inflamed, and it won't be because it doesn't want to be. And if it is, it's because something is wrong and it's trying to communicate that with you. And I mean, obviously, the outside perspective of this is like, yes, there are people who just eat too much, and that is fine. But 90% of the women who watch us, that is not their problem. They are completely on the other end of that. And so, yeah, man, you just got to like zoom out and like, you have one body.
Yeah. It's really crazy. And I do think that it is, because you just mentioned briefly how like sometimes it is a matter of eating too much. Are you going to talk a little bit about that at any point, or should we just touch? The only thing I'll say is sometimes it is important to just acknowledge if you feel like you are really healthy and you're like making good choices, but maybe you snack all the time, or you have these like certain habits.
Binge drink every other weekend.
Binge drink every other week, or every single weekend you go to eat for every single meal. Like those things do add up, and it is worth paying attention to and doing an audit in that situation as well. And it doesn't mean don't focus on all these other things we're looking at, because it's going to make things a lot easier. But those things do add up. And sometimes I think we want to put blame on, it's my inflammation, it's my cortisol, it's my whatever. But sometimes it truly is like our eating over in a
Well, and I
surplus.
think even like speaking again to most of the women that listen to this podcast, you're not eating McDonald's 7 days a week and gorging on calories, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Most of you are
Yeah.
in some sort of binge and restrict cycle, whether that's you restrict all week and then on the weekends you go crazy, you drink 2 bottles of wine or you have a whole bunch of beer. Well, not really beer, probably, but
Hey, speak for yourself.
and being in that binge and restrict thing is causing inflammation. That is stress.
Yeah.
Your body does
Mhm.
not know what the heck is going on. And when I used to talk to a lot of women when they would come to us before joining the program, I always used to explain it like it would almost be more beneficial to just eat more every single day than it is to be in that binge and restrict thing, because your
Totally.
body gets used to whatever you give it the most consistently. And so if you're under eating all week and then you go a little bit crazy on the weekends, or you just go like slide into that under eat during the day and then overeat at night, or you're drinking or whatever, your body's going to be like, oh, now I have like all of these calories and I'm going to store them because it doesn't trust you that it's going to get enough food the next day. So it's like, sweet, I'm going to store this as fat.
Because this bitch doesn't eat.
And this
Yeah.
bitch doesn't eat. Your body thinks you're like in the middle of a desert. It doesn't know that there's grocery stores on every corner and gas stations all around and a pantry full of food. It thinks, oh shit, like we never eat enough. And now all of a sudden we like came across this animal in the middle of nowhere and she ate it all. That's a bad example because that's probably would be not a bad thing if you ate a whole bunch of meat one day. But it's, you have to think about it like that too, right? So it's like even if you're technically overeating, you can still be causing inflammation. It's not always just under eating. But yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. And even just like the mind, like I think too with healthy eating, it can go both ways. Healthy eating can be like we under eat completely, or it can be like I'm having all these like nuts and seeds and nut butters and Aussie bites. And like, it's like, okay, you're having 2,000 calories worth of like nuts and seeds in the day. So let's just like do
That's
a little
me.
bit of, just focus on that. And you'll get to a point where your body can actually handle that snacking. That's why I want to be careful with how I'm saying is it's like having a couple extra nuts and seeds, like you're going to get to a point where I think we can all confidently say that we're at this point now where we can like have that stuff and it's not going to be what pushes us over the edge. But sometimes when you're in that more like specific fat loss phase, those things, the macro bro and me, like they do add up. And I think it is worth just acknowledging that. But this is about functional fat loss. I just did want to talk to those people a little bit.
Well, and the goal isn't lifelong dieting. Like and that's what I think people need to really like take away from it. It's like, if you've been doing it your whole life, that's wrong. Something's wrong with you. Like you need help, honestly.
Yes,
And sometimes it's mental, and sometimes it's literally the amount of food you're eating, and sometimes it's like childhood trauma, and sometimes it's inflammation. But the goal of it is to like, you might have to stick to it for a little while. It might be hard. It might be annoying to track your calories. It might be time consuming, and it might feel scary to do it for that time frame, especially if it hasn't worked for you in the past. But you shouldn't have to do it for the rest of your life. And I think that's why some people get so scared of like calorie counting, or like even saying that. I'm just like, sorry for triggering people. But the goal is to not have to do it forever. And that's why we're doing it now. And I think people get so triggered because when they did it, it was like they did it for 16 years and it didn't help anything. So now all of a sudden it has this weird, scary like juju around it. And it shouldn't. And it should just be a period of time, and you do it and you get your body to where it needs to be. And then you bring your calories back up, and then you eat all the Aussie bites that you want.
Exactly.
Because I think too, that's even something that I've realized is like when your metabolism is working properly, you actually need to eat a lot of food. And so it's like, that's why I can go on a trip now and I can lose 5 pounds because I'm not as scheduled with my meals as I am at home. I'm not as in control. And so it's like, oh, as soon as like I just eat a smaller breakfast because I don't have my full on thing, and then or whatever. So it's like, that's what will surprise you is if you put in the work to get there. That's why it feels so easy, because when your metabolism is working properly, your body doesn't want to gain fat. Fat is not good for you. So your body's not like searching out as many ways as possible as it can like sneakily gain a pound. It doesn't want it. And so when your metabolism working properly, when you eat extra food, what is going to end up happening is you'll have more energy. You're going to feel better. You're going to move around more. You're not even going to notice. You're going to get stronger. Like everything just is like, oh, extra cool. Here you go, Lacey, right? Let's make your life better. It's not like, oh, how can I put this thing that actually causes like a bunch of disease and like it doesn't
where can I
think like
pack
that.
this?
Yeah.
It's like, let's make her hair look good and her skin look good
Yeah.
and all that.
Poop
And-
every day.
And her
Yeah.
poop smell good.
Yeah. And it's just like so many benefits. And I think the other thing too that I wanted to talk about quickly is just like, you want to keep this fat off for life, right? And it's like you probably everyone that's listening to this podcast has lost 10, 20 pounds in the past, right? It's like if you've lost weight in the past, calories in, calories out, and you just white knuckled your way, it's like, yeah, anyone can come to us. And if you say you can't lose weight, I'm like, we can put you on a 700 calorie diet and we can make you do 8 hours of cardio a week. And I guarantee you're going to lose weight because it's like, we know people who don't have access to food and they're not fat because their body's inflamed. They haven't ate and they are skinny, right? But there is that point where it's like at that point, you're literally starving yourself and you wouldn't be able to function. And that's why no one can really get to that point. They kind of hang around that sweet spot of 12 to 1400 calories where your body's holding on to fat for dear life. But with functional fat loss, it proves that you can just keep it off because almost anyone can lose weight for 8 to 12 weeks. And when you do that and you cut your calories and you add cardio and you push through hunger, the scale will drop. But internally, like we were talking about before, your hunger hormones rise, your metabolism adapts, your stress increases, your inflammation increases, your recovery decreases, and then the diet ends. And then your body rebounds and you go back to the way that you used to be. And now short-term fat loss proves, sure, you can lose weight, but functional fat loss proves that you can keep it off. And that's the difference of having like a stable internal environment. So yeah. Now go.
I was just going to say there's something to be said too for like what enough food will do to your nervous system after so many years of like not eating enough, and you're going to be terrified of every single food, and you're going to be your body's going to be so hyper vigilant if you've just been constantly under consuming, and just like the peace that will come over you. I'm sure maybe some people don't feel it, but I know I've worked with clients where it's like, oh my God, like the constant chatter in your brain and like your nervous
noise.
Yes. And your nervous system is literally jacked up when you are not eating enough food. It's constantly like, when are we going to eat next? How am I going to get food? How am I going to get food? What is going to nourish me? And just like, even that is going to cause inflammation. I know you kind of touched on that cortisol piece too. And yeah, it's just like, it's so crazy.
It's crazy. And I think even with like my story, the restriction and the binge and like all of it, like I think people tend to like look at my journey, or people that have really struggled with their weight, whatever that might be. They're like, you don't get like the food noise. And it's like, no, I understood the fucking food noise. Like it was nonstop from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to bed. Like, what am I going to eat? How am I not going to eat? Why did I just eat that much? Like it's non-stop. And like, I know I can say it because I'm like privileged. I've never really like struggled really, really with my weight, but I've struggled with like that inflammation and like how I look and how I feel and how I'm functioning and all of the side effects that come with it, like your skin and rashes, digestive issues, all of it. And like Kira said, it's like you're just constantly in this state of like panic and you don't even realize it. And the most simple solution is eating balanced meals, but we just can't get ourselves to do that because that's our biggest fear, is gaining weight. And it's just crazy that this is like what women typically, and I'm sure there are lots of men too, but like we just are like pounded that we need to be smaller, and the way to be smaller is by eating less. And so from the moment we turn like 10 years old, that's what we think we have to do.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's actually crazy. And it's just like to think about how long diet culture has really been around, right? Like we're trying to break people's beliefs after, I mean, some people 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. But we were even talking on our coaches meeting this morning about how like women who are, 40, 45, 50, they always even have more of a hard time because their brain has been wired and they've held that belief, and that belief has shaped so many decisions. And now not only are you having to accept that your belief was wrong and that you don't need to eat 1200 calories and kill yourself, but now you also have to accept that you put your body into this place and it's your fault, right? And it's like, well, I don't know if it's your fault, but it's your responsibility now, right? And I think too, something I've been reflecting on a lot is because, it's easy for us to sit here at the end of our journey and and I can go back in time and like think of myself then and like really picture myself. And it's so hard to just continue to trust the process because I was probably 20 pounds up from my normal weight for a full year, maybe even a year and a half. And that version doesn't get any credit. That version people weren't coming up to, oh, good, you look so good. You're so healthy. Oh my, and I'm just like, can't look at myself in the mirror. None of my clothes fit. I don't want to post any pictures, any videos of myself. I'm so ashamed. You know what I mean? And it's like that version who deserves all the credit. Good job. You're doing, you know what I mean? She didn't get any. And then it's like now this version of myself where I'm like,
get
I
all
can
the
eat whatever I
validation.
want and it's sick and I don't have to go to the gym for 3 weeks and I lose weight. Like, this is awesome. She gets all the praise, right? Oh, you look so good. Your body, like, you know what I mean? And so I get it, but sometimes you have to be that person for yourself and just like speak
or get a coach.
Or get a coach. Yeah, that was my next line.
Oh, sorry.
Just kidding.
Sorry.
But it's true, right? Because it's such a mind fuck. And I just know we're going to have so many clients listen to this podcast because we get it. But it's like the reason that you're here and you came to us is because what you've been doing hasn't been working. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So it's like you just have to switch it up and trust the process and think about where you want to be in a year, in 2 years, in 5 years, in 10 years, and just try to drop your ego a little bit and like trust us. And it's hard because we don't have like anything with health answers. It depends. We don't know. Some people need 2 years of being 20 pounds overweight. Some people need 3 months. So it depends. But the more you can just like let that go and trust and not have that battle, it's just like, it's so fucking worth it. But it's a journey. It's a journey nonetheless.
It is a journey. And you just learn so much about yourself and like something. Because I've given like our friends like our kind of like meal plan in the past. And when I saw them a couple of weeks ago, they were just like, your guys's like how you structure your food has taught me how I need to be eating on a day-to-day basis. And so it's like, and I'm like, that's literally, if I could do anything for people, it's that they have that. So when they're not working with us, they know like, okay, I need my protein, my carb, and my fat. And maybe like Lacey said, like you might not get to that fat loss phase with a coach. And I hate even saying that because I don't want to like scare people away that might not be a part of that first initial part of the journey. But if you can like set yourself up and really ride that wave, like it will come at one point. And I think just with Lacey's journey, and I'm glad we have her to like talk about this specific like path, is that it took a long fucking time. Like it didn't happen, and it didn't even happen in a year. Like it was a lot of like trial and error, and now we figured it out and we do what we did with Lacey in a lot shorter of time. But people that have been under eating like Lacey was in like a intense way for so long, like when they're 40 or 50, that journey might be a little bit longer. And so it's just like trusting that process, and it's hard and we understand that, but you'll just learn so much about yourself and your body, even when you're not losing weight.
And it's really cool to like get to shift your goal from like just being smaller, just taking up less space, just eating less and undernourishing your body to like start to feel the way that you feel when you are eating enough and you're like, holy fuck, maybe I have different goals. Maybe I want to be strong. Maybe I want my skin to be glowing. Maybe I want to sleep well, have energy to play with my kids more than I want to be skinny. And like once you kind of start feeling that way, you're like, oh, okay. And then of course you have like a day where you're like, oh, I can't do this. And then your coach tells you that you can and everything's fine. But it's just really cool to get out of that headspace. And even you guys were talking about, you know, sometimes people have been 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years thinking smaller, smaller, smaller. And it even goes further than that, right? Because it's generational. It's literally our moms and their moms.
Yeah.
I'm sure as soon as like media was a thing, being skinny, like as soon as there were newspapers, I'm guessing is like when it kind of started, or like ads in magazines. Like, I don't know if there was skinny culture before that.
I think it's like baby boomers, like our generation's parents, where it's like the first, because that's, start of media.
Yeah.
And like magazines. And
but even like mom's mom, like that was like a thing. Like she,
yeah, you're right.
It's like generational. So like you're also contributing to the breakdown and collapse of this huge, massive.
Well, it's a belief system. That's what I'm saying. It's like
women. Yeah.
And you've thought this way for so long. And so
Yeah.
it's like, fuck, we get it. But
It's so deep rooted. It's crazy.
it's so deep. And I just understand how hard it is to just like commit, because I think I've told this story on here too before, but I was a fat loss coach prior to me committing, and I knew I was under eating, and I'm like teaching all these girls. I'm working with like 50 clients, and I'm just trust the process. You need to do a reverse diet. You need to eat more. And then 6 months down the line, they're like 20 pounds down. They feel amazing. Their body's responding. And I had to do that for a year and a half to have enough evidence to be able to do it myself. And so it's like, I can't imagine for you, just normal people out there who don't do this as a living, how hard it would be. And so that's why I'm like always get so excited, and I'm so grateful for anyone that just like trusts us and join our program, because I'm like proud of you, because that is a fucking hard decision. And I totally get it. So anyways, we digress.
We digress.
So,
yeah. That was a good
go.
little-
How to know if you're not ready for a deficit. If you haven't got the point already. But there is some like really easy ways to tell. So chronically bloated, that's something I was for sure. Constipated or diarrhea, or just not regular bowel movements. You should be pooping 1 to 3 times a day, every single day. You shouldn't need coffee. You shouldn't need a perfect circumstance. It should just come. It should be at the same time. It should be easy. No stress. Energy crashes, especially in the afternoon. Sleeping poorly. If you're always cold. If you're highly stressed. If you're coming off of years of dieting, like we just said. If you know more about dieting than you do about eating for optimal health. If you're constantly hungry, if you're currently eating under maintenance calories and you're not losing weight, your body's just not ready for restriction. And like we've said, fat loss amplifies stress. It is a stressor. And so if your baseline stress is high, it's going to backfire. And that's not really weakness. That's just simple biology 101, you guys. So yeah. But yeah, let's get into what doing it right actually looks like, because I kind of came up with a little 3-step framework for you guys. Our belief is that functional fat loss happens in phases. And the very first phase is regulation. You need to regulate your body. So that looks like a lot of things, but that is sleep. First and foremost, probably the most important. I was trying to find a study because I couldn't find it. So I don't actually know if this is true. But I remember when I recorded a podcast like 3 years ago, I said this on my stories and it always came up as a memory. So now I just remember it. But apparently, if you get 1 or 3 days of sleep that's like under 5 hours, your body's ability to burn fat decreases by 50%.
What?
I know. I tried to validate it, but I couldn't. So, but I feel like that's just a good thing to believe, regardless if it's scientifically true.
Yeah,
or not,
exactly.
so.
I agree. Okay. No study needed.
No study needed. So yeah, sleep is super important. Making sure that you are eating adequate calories and just supporting your body. Like we mentioned at the beginning, an easy way to find out your maintenance calories is by using that calculator. Also, if you just DM any of us or the Wellness Effect account, we can easily find that for you. But I think a really good starting point is just track your food and see how much you're eating. And if it is under 1,600 calories, there is a guarantee that you're under eating and your metabolism is downregulated if you're not losing weight. And if you're eating more than 22, 23, 2,400 calories, you might be pushing a surplus, which means you might just need to eat a little less. But the best thing you can do is just
if you've never done any like healing and you're eating like 23, 24, 25, you might be overdoing it.
Which
and
is
you might be totally
a better
fine.
place to be.
It is a way better place to be because guess what? You're ready for fat loss, baby. We just got those calories and you're good to go. But and like right now I'm eating 2,300 calories and I've maintained my weight I had a little rough patch there with the Reddit fruit diet, but but I'm back at it. And so it's not necessarily too much, but it just depends on how much muscle you have, how much exercise you do, regardless. So making sure you're eating enough, making sure that your minerals are supported. And I was going to say within range. That's hard to know if you're not going to test them, but this is more so it's funny as I'm talking it and I didn't even plan this. This is exactly how our program is set up in phases. So
sounds so good.
So mineral support is just so common in today's world, especially as a woman, to be depleted in minerals. The soil doesn't have as much minerals in it. So therefore our fruits and vegetables don't have as many vitamins and minerals as they once did. Also, our environment in general is just set up to deplete us, babies, birth control, high stress, everything just burns right through those minerals. Toxins. So Yeah, and we can even get into toxins because we realized that I didn't mention that earlier on, but your toxic load just in general is definitely going to impact your body's ability to lose fat. And so we talked a lot about stress, and I think that just kind of goes into that stress bucket. So it's not like we can avoid all toxins. There's a lot out there these days, but you do just have to do your part in lowering your load. And I just don't think there's any way around it. It's super easy. It's super to swap things out. And I think we've done an episode where we talk about kind of like common things, and I create a lot of free content on swaps. So you guys just start making them. Low tox lace. But don't, like, again, it's just, you have to make it easy. It's like what we always talk about. You can't just tomorrow decide you're going to throw out all your products and go buy a whole bunch of new ones because somewhere along the way you will get lost. I mean, you could technically do that, but it's expensive and you waste some money. But
well, and even like a piece of that is like fat is protective, right? We don't just hold on to fat and it's just like butter in our body. And if you even think about like butter, if you threw anything at it, it's going to stick to that butter. And that's exactly what toxins do in your body. They
I find
gravitate.
that so crazy.
It is. It like this just blew my mind. And it's honestly why GLP-1s scare me so much, is because most people aren't taking them from an intentional place, and then they just take this medication. Their body loses all that fat, but then they have these really clogged drainage pathways and their minerals are so depleted and they don't have any way to get those toxins out of their body now. Their motility literally gets slowed down. You aren't shitting, and the toxins are going to start getting reabsorbed, and you're going to just see a ton of issues. And even if you do fat loss well without a GLP-1, if you just restrict super hard so that you force your body to lose all this fat, if you're lucky enough to even lose any fat, there's still toxins on board that need to be kind of dealt with. And I think that's something that's so important to understand. We're not just like, oh, it's a no, like you can't lose weight, like you have to do it the right way. Like we're not just like saying that for no reason. That's a huge piece of it too, is like those toxins recirculating, that causes damage. That literally can cause like cancer, and even just like down from that, any hormonal issues. Your hormones are going to be fucked if you lose a bunch of fat and you don't have the nervous system mineral capacity, open drainage pathways to support that toxin load that's also leaving your body.
And like we said with and I'll keep this short, but the episode I think that will come out before this, when we were talking about the retatrutide and the losing weight on a GLP-1, there's a difference between losing weight and losing fat. And you're losing weight, which means, yes, you might be losing some of this fat and all these toxins are floating all over the place, but also you're losing muscle. And so now you are skinny fat, you have no protective organs, and you are just like metabolically so unhealthy, unfortunately.
And now you lost muscle, so now your metabolism downregulates even more.
Yeah.
And it's just a freaking rigmarole.
I think that kind of plays into like the why a lot of people will start to support their minerals, start to support their drainage pathways, start to get better sleep, and the fat that they're holding on to just because their body doesn't know what to do with all these toxins will actually release, because they're giving it the drainage pathways and the minerals that support toxin reduction in the body. And that's like, I just think that's so cool, because you literally don't even have to try. You just open up your drainage pathways and support your minerals, and your body's like, oh, thank God we have somewhere to put all this garbage, and then it just gets rid of it.
Yeah. That's what I mean. It doesn't
So
want to be
cool.
fat and inflamed, you guys. It does not want that. It doesn't want it. If it's doing it, it's because it's trying to protect you. And that even goes back again to why everyone gains it back, because they fucking lose it when they're not healthy, and then their body's like, blah, and then you gain the weight back. It's a crazy statistic. I think it's 95% of people who lose weight gain it back.
Yeah.
So again, you have to ask yourself, is losing weight actually that hard, or is keeping it off hard? And the reason I've never been able to do it is because I've actually never been in a healthy state going into a fat loss phase. I've never actually earned a fat loss phase. I just have felt that I am obligated to that. And even though I've been killing my body, and it's like that one reel I made where it's like, you know, if I talked as much shit about my best friend as I did about my body over the last 15 years, she probably wouldn't do what I wanted it to do either.
Yeah.
Or if like you treated your best friend like that, you know what I mean? So it's like, how are you actually treating yourself? Anyways, So mineral support, blood sugar stability, lowering chronic stress, which like the toxin part even falls into that, right? There's lots of things that can cause chronic stress. Yes, part of that is internal, unresolved gut hormone, whatever, autoimmune, nervous system dysregulation, all of that can lead to chronic stress. Also, shitty relationships, shitty jobs, your toxic load, all of that. So just lowering your chronic stress prior to going into a fat loss phase will make it a lot easier. And then also just making sure that we're strength training without overdoing it. I think that's more important than ever, especially in today's world with all the Ozempic and everything. Like, you need to be strength training. I do think that that's just like a prerequisite to being a human and an adult. It's like you put gas in your car, you should put muscle on your body.
Yeah.
There's
Boom.
just no arguing.
Let's make that into t-shirts.
Right?
Yeah.
So that is stage 1 first, regulating your body, getting it to a good place. And then the second is repair. So that's kind of moving in. Sometimes it's deeper healing, and sometimes people don't need to do this part. We have lots of clients who skip this if they don't have like deeper rooted gut issues and stuff that are going on. But this is where we're really going to dive into like improving your digestion, lowering inflammation, supporting your hormone balance, improving your insulin sensitivity. And then once you can do all of those things, and I almost want to take back what I said about most people won't need to do this. Pretty much everyone, if you've really been struggling with fat loss, I'm like, you probably do need to all do this. But I think what I meant is this stage can be a lot longer for some people, and some people it happens more quickly. But again, part of this stage is lowering inflammation, and that will result in a change in your body composition and how your genes fit and how you look and even what the scale says. So even though you're not losing fat yet, lowering inflammation is going to make you feel a lot better and just more confident. And I think too, another part that really like helps with confidence in this whole journey, and I think why I literally feel like a different person from when I started, is because actually doing what is right and is right for your body does help your confidence, because it doesn't matter how much we can all play like, oh, I don't know what's going on. Yes, you do. And you know what you need to do. And for whatever reason, you're not doing it. And so when you actually start doing what you know you need to do and is serving your body, and you're like prioritizing optimal health for the first time, your confidence is going to increase, because you're like, wow, I am so proud of myself. And so it's just like, that's another part of this whole thing, is like, you're going to actually like yourself. And it's like,
well, and you also lose that like constant I'm a piece of shit chatter in the back of your mind. You're like, I'm not doing any of the things that they say. I suck. I don't know how. Like, that's constant when you know what you're supposed to be doing and you're not doing it. It's like you cannot get away from that voice that's like, Kira, what are you doing?
And a little bit of that voice is good.
Yeah, it's supposed
Sometimes
to
when I'm doing stuff, I hear Kira and Lacey in my head. I'm like, eating Kit Kats last night. I'm like,
I had a Kit Kat too yesterday.
Really? Weird. So good.
Oh my God.
Give me a break.
Good one.
But yeah. So then once you're done that and you have repaired, you are ready then for a deficit. But let's just do a quick recap. So first, regulation, sleep, eating enough, supporting your minerals, lowering chronic stress, supporting your blood sugar, strength training without overdoing it. Second, repair, improving your digestion, lowering inflammation, supporting hormonal balance, improving your insulin sensitivity. Step 3, release. A mild deficit, anywhere from 250 to 500 calories. I'd recommend starting with a 250 deficit unless you have plus 30 pounds to lose, probably. The longer you can keep your calories higher, the better. The better chance you have at keeping it off, the better chance you have at not hating your life while going through this fat loss phase. High protein, making sure you're prioritizing protein, even all macronutrients at that point. But a lot of the times, if you don't like protein, you go in a calorie deficit, the first thing you're going to try to cut is protein. But I'll tell you right now, protein is the one thing that it doesn't matter how many calories our clients are eating, that doesn't ever change. You need adequate protein. So nothing to it but to do it, baby. And then
if anything, you want it to go up, because it's going to help with. It's the most satiating macronutrient. So if it was low in your like reverse diet, when you're eating more, you can kind of get away with that a little bit. But when you move into a deficit, that's when you like need to be intentional.
Yeah. And I just want to mention, when I finally was able to lose fat easily, I was never hungry. I was never food focused. My calories were so, like, I don't even know if I ever dieted. I think I might have went in a slight deficit like right before my wedding, but to like lose the last like 3 pounds to be shredded. But it wasn't like I had ever dieted before. It was a completely different experience. And again, a healthy body doesn't want to be overweight. And so if you are overweight and then you become healthy, your body will lose that fat, and it shouldn't be like fucking tooth and nail. So
Yeah.
if it is, you're probably not ready. Anyways. So yeah, mild deficit, high protein, prioritizing strength training. 3 times a week is all you really need. 4 times a week is still great. 5 times is probably overdoing it. And like, do you want to have a life? And then last but not least is just intentional movement throughout your day. I think one hill that I will die on is just going for walks after each meal, especially now that I'm obsessed with circadian rhythm. And I realize like the best times to be outside are also just coincidentally the exact times that if you went out after breakfast, lunch, and dinner, approximately, depending on what time you eat.
Funny.
Isn't that funny?
So
okay, I have just a crazy tidbit that I have to share this with you guys.
I've just been jumping off cliffs this
Sorry.
whole freaking episode.
Sorry. Kate, I don't know if this is just like, if only I will think this is weird, but since I've started doing sunrise and UVA rise, like viewing the sunlight at those 2 times.
Okay, can you just repeat to me? Because I've been doing the sunrise and what is this UVA rise? Is it middle of the day?
No, it's usually 30 to 90 minutes.
A is first.
It goes sunrise, UVA rise, UVB rise. And usually UVA is
on the bottom.
30 to 90. Yeah, it's that second layer.
Okay, so 7:15 is my sunrise, 8:30 is my UVA rise.
Yeah, so the UVA rise is when you need like a bit more, like 15 to 20 minutes. That's a great time to take your morning walk. And
okay.
Sunrise, you need like 3 to 5 minutes.
Okay, tell your story. Sorry, I just need that.
Okay, so since I've been doing that, and like we talked about babies having melatonin from their mom, I would say 8 out of 10 times a day when I go out and get sunrise, Jake wakes up and like Ellie's knocking on the door and she's like, Jake's awake. Do you guys find that to be so crazy?
So explain the correlation.
Well, because Jake gets Kira's melatonin, and so his melatonin is going to technically wear off when Kira's seeing the sun rise, because that's technically when Kira's triggering, okay, cortisol is here.
Interesting.
Morning. And he's literally like, I mean, almost every single day. It's like Ellie's inside eating breakfast and I can see her. And she just like knocks on the window. She's like, Jake's awake, when I'm at like minute 3, like as the sun is rising. I'm like, his circadian rhythm is just
dialed.
Wow, interesting.
Isn't that weird? And he's not seeing the sun. He's in his dark bedroom. Like,
but do you think that's a matter of like him getting it from you, or it's a matter of like it's just wearing off at the same time? I'm just genuinely asking.
I think it's probably like all of it.
Okay.
Both.
Well, you pretty much will have the same circadian rhythm, right? Because he's getting his melatonin from you.
Yeah, he's starting to have his own rhythm now. Anyway, we don't need to go down this big rabbit hole.
You had your moment last week, Kira.
Sorry. I've been waiting. Sorry.
I'm just kidding.
I'll mute.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's your 3-step framework that you need to follow, or you could join our program, whatever suits your budget. But most women try to start at the end of that. They try to start with the deficit. They try to start with the cardio and everything like that. And then they try to shrink a body that hasn't been supported. And that's not what you want. You want to build a body that cooperates. And then you can shrink it if you want. But fat loss should not feel like you're going to war with your body. And if it feels like war, your body is probably inflamed or stressed. And so lower your inflammation, regulate your system, build that metabolic safety. And once the system works, fat loss works. Okay? You can't argue thermodynamics, but you got to stop fighting your body and start rebuilding it. And let fat loss be a byproduct of optimal health.
Fuck yeah.
Good job, Lacey. And for the people wondering about cardio, what is your opinion on cardio, Lacey, if you were in a fat loss phase?
Well, personally, I didn't do one lick of cardio in my whole entire fat loss journey. And so I don't think it's necessary, to be completely honest, but
it's not bad for you if you're doing it in control.
No, and it's like good for your heart health, right? Like it's not, I don't want to like tell people they should never do cardio. But again, speaking to the women who are listening to this podcast who are overstressed, you do not need more cardio. And I honestly think even people who have to utilize cardio to lose fat and you have to do all of this stuff and you can do this or you can diet harder or whatever.
It's the same thing.
It's the same. You weren't ready for fat loss. Like it should not be that hard. And so physically white knuckling hard, again, changing your life and changing your habits and like committing to this process. Yes, it's hard. We understand that, but it's just a different kind of hard. So choose your hard. It's what they always say. But yeah, I just don't think it's necessary. But I even just said to Zach, I think we should start running once a week, but we say that a lot.
I have been loving just once a week. Like ever since I stopped, it's really honestly just nice. You just feel
I usually
different.
do like one cardio day at the gym where I'll just like walk for 20 and then go on the stepper for 30 at like level 5. I've been liking that just to get a sweat.
And something you can even like test out for people that are listening, if you have the time and you're not the person that is like overdone cardio, is even just before you start pulling back food, maybe you just start increasing your movement. So if you are usually getting like 6,000 steps, you try to get maybe 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, and then maybe you go to the gym one extra day, because that can actually make a big difference. And once again, the longer, like Lacey said, you can keep those calories higher, the better. So
well, and I think even the intentional movement part goes into that. And we didn't really touch on that too much, but like a human is supposed to be moving. We're not supposed to be sedentary. We're not supposed to sit at a desk all day. And so it's like your body also is going to hold on to inflammation and things like that when you're just
lymphatic system is
immobile. Yeah, your lymphatic system needs you to
that
walk.
Movement.
So for sure, that's part of that. Yeah.
Well, that was great.
Cool. Yeah. So
that.
Okay, cool. Do you guys have any questions?
No, I
Perfect.
think I asked them.
Okay, team. Well, thanks for tuning in. As always, give us a like and a follow and a subscribe and ring the bell in the corner of the YouTube if you're a YouTube fan, and leave a review if you can, and DM us if you have any questions. But just, we know it's hard, but it's fucking worth it, you guys. Like I'm telling you, it is worth the time and the energy and the effort and the mind games, because I cannot imagine if I had to live my life for the rest of my life the way that I lived it for those like 5 to 7 years. And I'm just like, still, it's like pinch me moment. So just do it and trust us. But we appreciate you for listening. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to The Wellness Effect. We're so grateful to be part of your wellness journey. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and follow us on Instagram. We'll put all of our handles in the show notes. If you have questions or ideas, slide into our DMs or send us an email. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep creating your own wellness effect.